So basically, my husband took me, they kept me in, and they'd done the scan the next day. So that was on the 23rd of December 2011. I found out the next day, 2 days before Christmas.
You can remember that quite clearly by all accounts. That,
I can.
You know, when that was disclosed, obviously it's a very hard thing to hear. What do you remember about that you know, breaking bad news occurrence when they told you what exactly was going on for the first time?
The lady that come and broke it to us, she actually, the good thing that I found she did do, she took us into a private room. And I knew as soon as she said about taking us into a private room, I said to my husband, it's cancer. So he says, not necessarily. So anyway, we went in, and she was a lovely, lovely lady. But the thing I did find, she told us all the negatives, and basically me and my husband, then she left us after approximately perhaps 10 minutes, 15 minutes. She left us alone for a while, and she actually, although she was a lovely, lovely lady, we don't feel that she actually gave the diagnosis correctly, because she made us think that basically I was terminal and there was nothing they could do. So my husband and my own thoughts, we were absolutely obviously in shock pieces. My husband went a bit angry, but then I think he realised and come out of that quite quick. But we said after, when she came in then, and she was saying then, she says, but the good thing is it's not in any vital organs. And we thought, well, why didn't she tell us all this before? Because we thought basically that I wasn't even going to be offered chemotherapy, no operations, nothing. So she was a lovely lady, very considerate lady, but she should have told us everything before she left, then come back to see if we was all right. But she only told us half of what was happening, and then basically she came and told us the other half when we'd had all negative thoughts going through our head.
Can you say to people what stage or degree of cancer you had? Because I remember you telling me before it was quite advanced at that stage. It
was. I did ask the team what stage cancer mine was at, and it was at a 3C. And I was told it would have been a lot better to have been caught earlier. And I ended up with the cancer in 6 places. Yeah.
And that was found later, I think, when you went for surgery, is that right?
Yes, well, the scan itself actually shown that it was in 3 places. And when I had the biopsy done, they didn't look all around because it was quite advanced. They had to basically give me chemotherapy as soon as possible and do the major surgery as soon as possible. So basically they just worked with the scan, with the biopsy at looking around my womb and my ovaries and everything. And originally I was told that it was only in the one ovary, not in my womb and my other ovary. But after the biopsy, it was in the other womb and ovary. And then I also had it in they call it for short a fat pad. And I had it on the surface of my liver and just on the surface of my diaphragm as well. So there were quite a few spots that were definitely adding to the burden that you were facing at that time. Yeah, there was, yes. And what did they say about this in total? What was the plan at that stage? Originally, when I seen my professor, because the way it was diagnosed to us, and it was relayed back from the nurse when she told me that I'd got cancer. My husband and myself thought it was terminal, and we were actually believed that I'd only got weeks, if months at the most, to live. But it wasn't until we spoke to the professor that made us so much more positive. I asked him, I said, am I terminal? He says, no, you're not. And he says, you're very young and you're very well, very healthy. We're going to blast and give you everything. After my surgery, the gentleman that actually done the surgery came in, and he did say to me that he's managed to get rid of every bit of cancer that he could see. So it was actually after the surgery that things seemed much more positive, because prior to the surgery we knew that it was in 5 places. It was only after the surgery that we knew it was also on the diaphragm. But prior to the surgery, we were thinking, how many more places is it going to be? You know, will they look and just think, there's nothing we can do? But it was really, really positive after the surgery, the most positive, you know, that we'd felt.
I mean, in a way, I think that's important for viewers to hear who are in a similar situation where they've had a diagnosis and it has spread to some extent, you know, they call it metastatic, don't they, when it's caught, when it's had other deposits, not necessarily just in that local area. Obviously that is a bigger scare, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there's no hope at all. There were still options to explore.
Yes. And
well, we're skipping ahead, but you seem to have done well actually after that point. So
I think a lot of it is positive thinking. I've had a lot of support from family and friends. I mean, I've got a wonderful family, wonderful friends, and everybody's kept me so positive. I am quite a positive person, and I am a fighter anyway, but that doesn't mean that you don't feel low sometimes and shed a tear occasionally. That's natural though. At the end of the day, we're all human, and you know, that's the way I think you get through it, you know, and by talking about it and everything.